Hi everybody, my name is Jay Shaw and I'm answering a question my friend asked, which is, would things be better if humans focused on what was going well rather than what was going wrong? And I would say the answer is definitely that things would be better if people focus on what's good rather than what's bad. And the reason is, when people focus on negative things, their mind gets immersed in them and entrenched in them, and our survivalistic instincts kick in, and we continue to fearfully populate the content of what that negative stuff was over and over and over in our heads. We play scenarios in our minds that most of which, almost all of which, will never come to pass, but we act as if it would. This applies in relationships, it applies in business, it applies in a lot of things. Being cautious about negative things is important, but the base state, given that we have survivalistic mindsets, the base state is to focus on threats much more pertinently than they actually are. And what happens as a result is that we then become embodiers of negativity, negative energy, and then we often do things, we act out of fear and then cause bad situations. So many times people who are focused on negative things develop negative mindsets, and then it becomes a self-created, a self-fulfilling prophecy. So there's always a place to focus on negative things and to correct for them. But it's a more important and better thing to focus on positive things and be able to allow that to carry you in a heart-based way through the world. The mind is always focused on negativity. So for example, if you're walking through a forest and it's a very big forest and you find out that there's one bear in the forest, it could be anywhere, it's an extremely large forest, and your chance of encountering the bear is less than 1%, you're probably not going to want to go into the forest. Or if you were, you'd be constantly thinking about it, because you know that your survival is at risk by going into the forest, even though the threat is extremely, extremely small. Now, if you do go, you're going to be constantly worried, and you're not going to enjoy your time. And as it realistically plays out, statistically, if you have a less than 1% chance of encountering the bear, in almost guaranteed likelihood, you're never even going to know the bear existed in reality through your direct experience. But in your mind, you can think about the fact that this could go wrong, this could go wrong, and you cut yourself off from a potentially very, very good experience. And in that one experience, it might feel okay to do that, but people have the tendency then to just cut off more and 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 more experiences, because when a mentality becomes entrenched, it doesn't apply to one situation. It applies to many situations, or maybe into every situation. So caution is important to some extent, but it's important as well to live with a sense of adventure, a sense of love and vitality, a sense of knowing that you can do something, rather than thinking that everything is working against me, this many negative things can happen. Those types of mentalities are not conducive to growth, to productivity, to innovation. You need to be able to risk things to innovate. And when you have the ability to risk, you know that bad things could happen, but you take the chance anyway. And of course, many people fail when they do risky things, but many people succeed, and the people who succeed in a bigger way. So it's important for anybody to know that better things can always happen. And many times it starts in here, or it starts in here, in the heart or the mind, or it starts inside somewhere, and then you can see things better, you can see things brighter. Interactions with people become better because you're not worried about negative things that they've done in the past, negative things they may have said. You're not engaging them in a negative way, and then the positive energy translates between the two of you, and then a better and newer relationship arises. So let's all keep that in mind, and let's try to see negativity for what it is, which is a mind construct. There are bad situations, but we do not need to react to them in the way that we do. we can always make things better. When we're living in difficult times like we are now with the coronavirus, and also in times of general peace and prosperity and goodness, we can always make things better. So let's keep that in our minds and in our hearts, and let's make today and tomorrow better days than they would have been otherwise.